Hello everyone! So in today's video I'm just going ahead and I'm painting these winter watercolour snowdrops in my sketchbook. So this painting was a loose painting, so it was spontaneous, and I did a lot of wet and wet technique. This is a 300 GSM sketchbook slash watercolour journal that I've been using for the last few videos, so I've mentioned it before. So I'm just going ahead, I'm just taking my paintbrush and I'm just wetting around my illustration. So I have used masking fluid on the flowers themselves and a few dots around the paper to make snow or rain, just to add some interest. So I'm going ahead and I think I'm getting hooker's green and then also indigo. And I'm going to go around the flower first. I could have really used masking fluid for the snowdrops stalks as well, now that I look at it, but I didn't, which is a bit of a shame. So the reason I'm going to talk about the colours in a second is because I didn't actually have all the colours that I wanted to use. For some reason, I thought I had a replacement sap green. So in the video I didn't actually realise until I was painting that I realised that I was completely out of sap green, and later on the video you see I do try and get what tiny little dregs of paint I can get from it. So anyway, so I went to go look in my collection. I say collection, I have like 3 replacement colours to put into my pan, and sap green wasn't one of them. It was a Hooker's pale green that I had a replacement of. And then later on I did also want to add a bit of cadmium yellow, but as you can also see I ran out of that as well, so I'm going to have to schedule a day where I go art shopping. Oh dear. So yeah, so this painting, I don't really know a lot to say about it, because at the moment I'm just going around and I'm messing around with the background until I'm happy with it. So I was just deepening up some of the areas of indigo. I don't have a border because, like I said, it was just I don't have like sellotape tape round. I've just had a border. So here I'm just flicking some of that indigo into the background just to get some more interest. I like adding splatters. So here is where I try to scrape as much sap green as I can possibly manage out of the pan. I got a little bit out the pan, but not enough. So it comes out quite a dark green. So here I am, and I was just adding some dark green to the paper. So obviously it's wet and wet, so it cauliflowers, which is fine. It was meant to be loose. I was trying to get some impression of some grass strands, but they spread out quite a bit more than I expected them to. So this painting was actually a little bit of a struggle. So this is when I realised that I didn't have the yellows for the stems. Like I said, the cadmium yellow, you can see, that I mentioned earlier, has run out. So I got my Shaw and Marsh watercolour set, and they don't have colour names, which I've mentioned before in a different video. They don't have colour names, so I can't really call this a watercolour demonstration because I can't really explain all the colours. So I did get colours out of that set, and I got the green and everything. So because I was searching for that replacement colour, the background dried completely, and I wanted to actually let it dry but let it stay damp, and it didn't. So what I wanted to do, I wanted to paint the leaves but have them cauliflower out a little bit as well. But as you can see, it didn't really work the way I wanted to. So I just sort of carried on painting really, and seeing if I could fix what I didn't like about it. So here I am, I did the yellow, I tried to do some underpainting, and then I used some of that green. There's a lot of indigo in that green, and there's a mix of the other set, the other colours that don't have names, unfortunately. So I'm going around trying to fix the leaves, and I also had a lot of trouble. I don't want to say staying in the line, but because obviously the indigo is darker than the yellow, I couldn't put it on top of it, and you could see some of the background showing through the transparency of the leaves. I should have thought about that before I went in at the start and just started going in with a dark colour. So then what I did is I washed off my paintbrush, dried it a little bit, and then I started sort of spreading around some of the leaves, some of the green on the leaves. And that was okay. I think that turned out all right to quote unquote fix my mistake that I was unhappy with. So I tried to sort of do some smudging and some interesting adding to the background to try and, like I said, make it loose. So this painting, I don't want to call it a failure, because I don't hate it. The end result, I definitely don't hate it. But I had an image in my mind, and I was struggling to get that image. So now at this point, I would say I'm possibly overworking it a little bit. I went in with some more indigo, just to see if I could darken up the background behind some of the leaves, get a bit more interest. Like I said, I was overworking it. I was basically just playing around until I was happier with the painting than I was earlier. And then I went around and I was doing the actual stems to the snowdrops, and then I went back down here and played around with the background some more. So I didn't really know what I was doing, to be honest. I was playing around and trying to fix my painting, to be honest. I went around and added some splatters. So quick note, I did at the end go ahead and take a white acrylic paint to go over the snowdrops, because in a second, not only did I smudge some green into them, in a second you will see that I add grey to the snowdrops, and I wasn't happy with it. They looked even more washed out than they already look. They're not a main focus, and they were supposed to be, which is a shame, which was why I'm not completely happy with this painting. But I got a white acrylic marker, and I will just go over them. You don't see it in the video because I stopped my recording and then I thought about doing it. So there we go, I'm adding the grey there, that I use my indigo and Van Dyke brown. See what I mean? And they just, I don't know, they just don't stand out, and they're supposed to. And it was a bit of a mush. So originally, I was going to add that acrylic paint or some splattering with some white dots, or even some gouache to get some more snowdrops, but I decided against it because I kind of said to myself to put the paintbrush down and just call it finished, because it's already chaotic, and adding more little bits of snowdrops, snowdrops as in snow, not the flowers, but adding more snowdrops and more adding more to the background would overwhelm it, and it's already pretty overwhelming. And now I've pretty much finished my painting, so I'm just going to go ahead and finish this voiceover. Thank you all so much for watching. Please sure to leave a comment and subscribe.